This reading is going to be on emotional triggers and the truth behind them. So the question that I'm going to ask the cards is, why am I getting so upset? So I want you to imagine a situation where you are having an ab reaction to something, so where you're getting overly emotional about something that's happening in your life, where it's like it's really affecting you deeply in that situation. So I don't know, for example, if you were trying to catch a bus and you got on the bus and you didn't have your money ready, or you didn't have the correct change, and the bus driver started telling you off, and you got really upset and you were absolutely crushed by it, and you started weeping, you were like really upset. That's like an ab reaction. It's an extreme reaction to a very minor kind of altercation that most people would kind of brush off and think, okay, he's having a bad day, or bus drivers get quite impatient with people anyway because they see this over and over and over again, and so it's not just one person not being ready and holding up the queue and then making everything late. It's like numerous people every single day, so it's not personal, but you take it really personally. That's not that your reaction, your response, is not about just the bus driver and you getting told off. It's about something deep within you, a core wound that happened when you were younger, when you got disciplined for something that you didn't believe was your fault, and then that created a wound in you that has then been triggered throughout the rest of your life by little minor things. And instead of your adult self responding to that situation, your child self has felt the disapproval, and your child self has received the telling off instead of your adult self. And so I think it's helpful to look at like where these things come from. Like, why do we have these wounds still? What are these wounds, and what can we do about them? How can we heal these wounds so that in a situation we can act as an adult and we can not be harmed by it? We can look at the bigger picture and see that it is not about us, that it's not personal, and even if it is about us and it is personal, does it really matter? You're never going to see this man again, and it's it's a couple of minutes out of your life. So you don't need to kind of drag it around for hours to days afterwards, bemoaning the situation and beating yourself up about it and wishing there was some way that you could resolve it. So we're going to do the reading on this, not on bus drivers, but on why am I getting so upset. So I want you to picture a situation, and maybe it's a repetitive situation. So maybe it's like at work, for example, with a colleague, and this person like kind of upsets you all the time, or makes you angry, or hurts you, or frustrates you. Or I want you to picture a situation. If it repeats, that's much better, because that will be something deeper which is being triggered, rather than just a one-off. Or maybe it's a common theme. So for example, if being told off by a bus driver hurts you, then being told off by who else wounds you? What else wounds you? Maybe it's like a short-tempered waitress in a restaurant, or a grumpy shop assistant, or a short-tempered person at the airport when you're going through customs. Like think about where there might be a common theme that runs through that that affects you, that triggers you in the same way, because it's like when we get overly upset about something, it is a trigger. So this reading is all about dialing into the triggers and finding out what they're really all about. So I'm going to shuffle the cards. What's the question? Okay. So we've got 4 cards in this reading, and I'm intrigued to see where this leads. So I've got two cards are, why am I getting so upset? So we've got 2 cards to give us information about this. And then there's 2 cards about what can I do moving forwards? How can I fix this, resolve it, heal it? So the first card that we have is the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles is actually a really positive card. The King of Pentacles kind of means that you have financial stability. It means that you have built a home and a life for yourself, and that you feel comfortable and that you feel safe and secure. It is all about abundance, you know, things growing, things coming into being, things are plenty. And so at first glance, this card like kind of says like that you shouldn't be getting upset because you are like king of your kingdom and you have like financial abundance, and you know your wealth has brought you all that you want to possess. But I think what's happening here is that you're getting upset because this is how you see yourself in your life, or you would like to see yourself in your life. Yeah, so this is like the image that you have in your head of you and your life, you happily sitting on your throne in your kingdom with all of your wealth. You are a person of import, a person who deserves to be treated with love and reverence and respect, and you know, someone who deserves to be bowed down to and worshipped and taken care of, like by other people looking after your needs. And then you sit on your throne and you govern the realm, you govern the kingdom. And so being in a situation where you're in an altercation of some kind with somebody else and you're getting upset, it's like because it's challenging your worldview. Your worldview is, this is who I am, or this is who I should be by now. But it's like it's your inner child's perception of who you are and your life is, your inner child believes that you should be the king sitting on a throne in charge of their kingdom. Yeah, so you should be comfortable, you should be safe, you should be secure, and you should be surrounded by wealth and abundance and plenty and, you know, greenery and sunshine, and everything is kind of safe, everything is in place. All of those things that you dream of as a child, those things that you are taught within storybooks and everything to aspire to work towards, all of those things should be yours. And all of those things kind of are yours in your head, and if they're not quite in place yet, they will be in place soon. And so when you come up against an obstacle in the external world and someone doesn't treat you like you are this person, it really upsets you and it triggers you, because then it brings into question your version of reality. It's like, oh, okay, well, if other people out there aren't reflecting that back to me, aren't showing me and telling me that I am this person, then I can't be this person. Like, I can only be this person if the outside world is treating me like this person. So you want to be this person, and a part of you believes you are this person, but you don't believe it physically enough. You doubt it. It's like it's your desire, it's your dream, it's the kind of thing that you fantasize about and that you really want and that you grew up believing that you would have and that you deserve, and yet you don't believe you have it. So even if you have a nice place to live, even if you have a good job, even if you have like security, even if you have people who work beneath you in a team underneath you that you are in charge of, so you are like their father figure or whatever, or their mother figure, but in this card it's the king, so we're talking father energy, which is more of a kind of Like mother is all touchy-feely and love and taking care of and everything, and father is more managing and controlling and kind of like making sure all the pieces fit together and everybody arrives on time, and it's kind of more organizational and structural. And like even though you kind of like could have this in your life to a degree, you do not believe in it enough. Like it's more of like an imposter syndrome feeling. So it's kind of like if this is who you are, or this is who you aspire to be, or this is who you're pretending to be, whenever you get challenged by something or someone in the external world, it triggers you, because then you're like, your imposter syndrome gets woken up, and then you're like, oh, I'm not that person yet, and then it freaks you out, and then you get all emotional and everything. And then like the card that gives us like kind of further information about that is the Two of Wands. And in the Two of Wands we see like a man, and he's standing and he's got two wands like in his hands, holding them like this, and he's staring out across the water. So he's standing like on the edge of a castle. So he's in a castle and he's standing on the edge of the castle, but it's not his castle, because he doesn't look that wealthy. He looks like a worker, not an owner, and it's only the Two of Wands, so he hasn't actually like accumulated that much, because the wands go up to 10, and then we've got we've then got the up to the King as well in that sense. So he's only the number 2, and he's standing there and he's looking out from this castle top, which is someone else's castle. And he's looking out over the water, and everything's got this kind of golden glow. So it's like the magic hour, at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, when the sun is starting to go down, depending on the time of year. And so it can be slightly later. But like when the sun starts to go down in the afternoon, there's something called the magic hour, which is when the light is at it's the most beautiful time of day light-wise. And in the morning and dawn we have a similar kind of thing, but the one in the afternoon I think is the more powerful one personally for me. And all of the colours kind of burst to life. And if you take photographs at this time of day, they look amazing, because all of the colours pop out and everything just looks like more three-dimensional and stuff. And it's just it's that time of day when you look at the world and you're like, wow. And he's looking out across the water from this castle where he is kind of standing guard working. And he's looking out and he's seeing the world and going, wow, looking out over the water. And the water is like freedom. It's freedom, release from where he is. It's like, and there's no restrictions. It's like if he dives into the water and starts swimming off now, it's like the world it becomes his again, and he doesn't have to answer to anybody but himself. And he's a free man. And the Wands cards are all about like energy and firepower. And he's standing there, and he's kind of like, he's coloured in the same kind of like yellowy colour, but he's more of an orange and a kind of orangey red. So it's all about like the sacral chakra and embodying your inner divine energy. So if you're man, it's embodying your masculinity in a really visceral sense, and if you're a woman, it's about embodying your divine feminine and your kind of like your sexuality and your power that comes from there, from creation, because the sacral chakra is all about creation. It's where, as a woman, you create babies. And so he's standing there and he's thinking and he's trying to create, and we've got the salamander on the kind of like on the stone. We've got like the salamander carved into it, which is all about like kind of transformation and power and alchemy. But he's like, these two wands that are on either side of him represent the fact that he's stuck in between two places. He doesn't know what to do. It's like, does he stay where he is, which is like humble but safe and secure, or does he release these constraints, throw these wands aside, forget these two little things that he has accumulated, which aren't really very much in the grand old scheme of things in terms of the tarot cards? Does he cast them aside and like jump from the parapet with the abandon of the fool and begin a new adventure? and so it's like in one of these, it's like here you are stuck in your throne, ruling your kingdom, or trying to do so, or trying to make believe that you are doing so, but it's a static card, and it feels a bit stuck and a bit trapped and a bit contrived and not really very real or natural. And then there's this card, which feels really raw and really real, and really important, and it's kind of like urging you to just make a decision, pick a side, and then either stay put and do as you're told and shut up and be a good, humble person, or jump off the parapet into the water and take your chances with, you know, the transformation and the change that will come out of that decision. Because, you know, if you cast everything aside and you jump, shit's gonna happen, stuff's gonna change, nothing will ever be the same again. It's like it's you are risking everything in order to attain everything. In terms of being upset, though, I think the upsetness is about how you are trapped within a certain identity. So, like, you want to have attained all of these things. You want to have this wealth, this security, this kingdom that is rich and bountiful, and you want to be able to sit still and trust in the knowledge that you have this, that you are safe, that you can relax, that nothing can hurt you, that nothing can invade this space. And you get upset when something from the outside does invade that space, because it questions it by not respecting it, by not believing it, by not seeing it even. I mean, things from the outside trigger us because they're not seeing our version of reality. They're seeing their version of reality, and their version of your reality could be they're having a really bad day and they don't feel like being very nice to you, even if you are a nice person, even if you haven't done something wrong. And it's also like the more that you sit there peacefully and you go about your business and you're like kind of trying to rule your kingdom in a quiet, in a very gentle way. There's nothing aggressive about this card. It's just kind of like taking care of business, ruling over like the what you have built. But the more you sit there calmly and gently, without like kind of rocking the boat and causing any chaos, the more likely it is that you are going to attract people on the outside into your energy field who need chaos, crave chaos, because in the stillness and in the silence they have to face themselves. And so seeing you sitting there peacefully and comfortably, and seeing you in charge of your own inner kingdom, annoys them, because they don't have that and they don't know how to get that, but they desperately want it. And so they feel like they have to ruin it, rip it apart, blow it up, because then you're both flailing and you're both lost, and then you're on an equal ground again. And so this could be like why you are attracting conflict into your life, is because of this very set picture that you have in your head of who you are, how you would like to be, and how you kind of like behave. And the cards are kind of are saying that you're getting so upset because you're stuck between two places. Like, in here, there are like two, if we look at this king, there are two things that this king is holding. One is wealth with the pentacle, and then the other one is spirituality or spiritual enlightenment with the I don't know if that's a crucible or not, I need to look that up. But with the religious relic, the religious ball. And so he's trying to balance them. He's trying to balance wealth and spirituality, spiritual freedom, in both hands, in a very concrete, static manner. And then life comes crashing in, and it's kind of not possible to do that anymore, because life is not as neat and tidy as that. And this card is kind of telling us that's the problem. The problem is we kind of need to choose what it is we want. We can't have both in a balanced way at the moment, or because of the thing that is getting triggered inside of us. We're not able to have both at the moment in a balanced way. As soon as we have to pick between one or the other of them, that's when the trigger is coming. We want both, but we keep being asked to pick, and each time we're asked to pick, we're like, and spirituality goes out the window, and we cling to security. We cling to the pentacle because that is safe and secure, and spirituality is all etheric and blah, 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 and it's kind of like it's not as tangible. You can't grab hold of it in quite the same way. So that's those two cards. And the way to move forwards is, and now we have two more somber cards, strangely. So the way to move forwards is, we have the Four of Swords. And in this card, it's like we're being asked to kill this person, to bury them, to lay them to rest, to like shut them down or pull out their plug, and to respectfully entomb them. So to stop them in their tracks, but in a respectful way, and put them to bed. Like this person is in bed, been put to bed in a sarcophagus, and he's being honoured because the swords are kind of laid out there to say, look, you are a mighty warrior. You worked really hard. You did a great job. Now we're going to lay you to rest in a sarcophagus. We're going to leave a piece of our heart with you so that you can rest in peace, and also so that you can be watched over by Christ, because that is also like the kind of like Christ symbol there. So you can be watched over by a higher power who will take care of you and make sure that you sleep peacefully for now, because right now you need to be out of the way. That energy, that fantasy, that persona needs to be moved out of the way for the time being, because it's not working for you right now, and that's why you're being triggered. And this will give you more stability and more balance, because 4 is all about balance and stability. It's like the 4 legs on the table. So although it's kind of, in a way, it makes this card's kind of like a sad card, because there's like a guy there who's dead and he's been, kind of like entombed. It's very peaceful and it's very respectful. And he's been preserved, so it's not like he's gone into the ground and now he's going to get eaten by the bugs and the worms. It's like, no, he's been put in this like stone coffin, so he's being looked after, he's being preserved. And then the next card is saying that this is the king you need to be now. Yeah, so not the King of Pentacles, which is all about being rich and wealthy and earning more money and having more like material things in your life, or the ability to buy more material things in your life. Yeah, so it's very like earth-based. This card is like swords is all about, like, swords are air, swords are intellect, swords are knowledge, swords are throat chakra and speaking your truth. So the basically what this card is saying is, this is who you need to be right now. You actually need to, instead of like being prideful and thinking, I ought to be treated with respect because this is who I am, because this is my title, this is my authority, this is like how hard I've worked in my life to become this certain person, this is my title, position, income bracket, etc. It's saying, no, that's the wrong energy right now, and that's why you're fighting all the time, because you're trying to get other people to be nice to you and respect you for the wrong thing and the wrong reasons, and they're not going to. They're going to look at it, and if they see you as privileged, then they're not as privileged as you. They're probably going to resent you for it, because that's kind of like the way that it tends to roll. This card is saying that if you inhabit this energy, so if you are in pursuit of the truth, if you are a seeker and you seek knowledge, and you become the king of that domain, then you will be more in control of your feelings, of your life, of the way things turn out. You will speak your truth, and you will live and die by your truth, so you will not be taken advantage of. And if it's your truth that you speak, then you're not going to feel like an imposter, because you've earned your truth, you know your truth, you've lived and breathed your truth, you are authentically your truth, and you know when you're speaking your truth, because you feel in balance. So this card is kind of like, it's urging you to come from a grounded place, to sit on your throne, but to be grounded, don't go up into the clouds and be all in your head and like kind of like become egotistical and everything about the whole thing. It's like, no, you have to sit and you have to be grounded, and you have to be grounded throughout your whole body. I mean, the crown in this card has got like red on it as well, so it's kind of saying, no, you need to be grounded up here as well, and not like kind of like float off. The butterfly on there is like resembles the throat chakra, and also it resembles it's representative of spirit as well. So it's kind of saying, like, spirit is with you, spirit is supporting you if you speak your truth, and it's encouraging you to speak your truth as well. There are birds flying overhead, which kind of like suggests that kind of like connection to another plane, to other beings and extra information, and everything is kind of calm and quiet and peaceful. Like, this card is like really uncluttered, and this card is like overflowing with stuff, with information and with activity, and it's a little bit, I don't know, it's sunny and it's fun and it's nice, but it's also a little bit overgrown and a bit unruly. And this card is much more like, there's no drama or chaos attached to this card. It's a lot more peaceful and quiet. So in terms of like, why am I getting so upset? Why you're getting so upset, I think, is because you don't actually really know deep down who you are. Think that you like to think you know who you are, and you have like this notion in your head of who you are and who you should be by now in your life, or who you would like to be, and you're kind of pretending to be that person while you're on your way there. And you would like, while you're on your way there, other people to treat you like you already are that person. And then that kind of fills in the gap, so you don't feel the hollowness and the emptiness of the fact that you're not quite there yet. And then when that doesn't happen, you get triggered, because then you're like, but if I'm not this person, then who am I? And then you have this like, great unknown. And the cards are saying that it's kind of like, you need to choose what exactly it is that you want to achieve, who exactly you want to be, what you want to have in your life. And from that decision, you then need to accept the consequences, instead of always being between two places, like saying one thing and doing another thing. It's like, it's not being authentic. You need to kind of pick a side. Do you want financial security and safety, or do you want spiritual enlightenment and connection to things that are bigger than yourself, and the majesty and the magic of that? And that's a really tough decision to make, because it's like, there's risk involved, and maybe you have to, in order to have that in your life, you have to risk everything falling apart and falling away. But it's like, this card promises like a prettier picture, a rosier picture, if you can make a choice and jump into the adventure of whatever comes next. And in order to do that, part of you is going to have to die. But it doesn't need to be killed brutally, and it doesn't need to be shoved aside and left with no reverence or respect or anything. It's like, no, you take this part of yourself and you honor it and you thank it and you tell it that you love it deeply. And you tell it that it has been so useful and it has served you so well, and you are so grateful to it. You are eternally grateful to this part of you. So you are going to put it somewhere safe. Yeah, so it is merely sleeping. It is not dead. And you will make sure that it is watched over and that it is loved and that it is safe. And then if you need it to come back again at some point in the future, which you probably will when you have done more work and you are more balanced, and then you will have like a better space for it to then be integrated into the rest of you, then you will come and you will gently wake it up and the reintegration will happen. But when you get rid of that one part of yourself, this is who then has the space to come out and to be, and this is who we want to work towards in order to not get upset and not get triggered, is this card. And it's all about like speaking your truth, being your truth, living and breathing your truth, and searching out more of your truth every single day, so that each day you feel like you are becoming more and more yourself, more true to yourself, more authentic to yourself, and that you are reflecting that as well in all of your interactions. So I hope that's given you lots to think about, and something to begin to work on and towards. Don't worry if it seems a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, because there's quite a lot of information now and there's quite a lot of instruction as well. And maybe the most important thing to start off with is just to think about this card and think about how you personally can relate to this card. So how are you in your life like this king? And to feel into that and maybe journal about it, just to see what comes up. And then you move into, okay, so if you've got conflict in your life and you're stuck between two choices, what are those two choices? What is the thing in your life that is pushing you one way and then the thing that's pulling you the other? There's a push and pull going on here. There's a choice that has to be made, and it's the uncertainty as to what decision to make and not knowing what the right choice is. Yeah, because both of them require some degree of sacrifice. Both of them mean maybe one of them means that you will lose your future, the dream that you have for the future, the fantasy of that. Maybe you will sacrifice happiness in order to have security and stability. Maybe you will sacrifice freedom. And then on the other side, it's like, you know, maybe you keep wealth but lose love, or maybe you keep security but lose integrity or lose health or something. But there's a choice to be made. So if you get health, then maybe you lose security. If you get happiness, then maybe you lose wealth. If you get adventure, then maybe you lose kind of like family and belonging and home. So it's like a difficult choice to make, and it's not like there are two choices. There isn't just one choice. There are two choices, and you could choose either of those options, and maybe you even have more, and you could make them work. But it's just about aligning yourself to it and getting your head behind it, and then accepting the consequences of that, because sacrifices will have to be made. And the conflict that is being experienced, and the reason why you are getting upset, is because you're trying to kind of have it all at once, in one go, in one place, and that's not happening because you don't have that much control over your world, over your life. There are other players in your life, other people in your life, other elements in your life that all feed into it, and you're not God, you're not all powerful. You can't just like sit there on a throne and wave your magic wand and everything kind of falls into place. It's like we do not have that much control, most of us, and so we can't stop things happening around us. And it's in accepting that and then choosing what is most important to you and choosing to control the things that you can control, then you get more of a sense of calm and more of a sense of ownership over your life and what happens to it. And this reading is ultimately saying that the one thing that you really can control is you can be in control of your truth, of the things. You can be in control of what you choose to put into your head, to the information that you seek and the information that you feed yourself. You can be present and mindful to what you're just listening to and watching casually, and not allow stuff that's going to upset you or trigger you or lead you off in the wrong direction into that space. You have control over that. You can control what you say when you open your mouth, how you say it, if you are sitting in a grounded throne. And you can work to heal, like in therapy practices, whether you do those on your own, like journaling and guided visualizations and personal healing work, or whether you choose to do those with somebody else. Like there are things that you can do to kind of like heal those wounds so that you're not being so triggered, so that when you do speak your truth, it is always authentic and gentle and kind. But it's like this is the king power to lean into more than the one who is solely concerned about wealth and ownership. So it's like your thoughts and your beliefs are yours. They belong to you fully. No one can ever take that away from you. That is always yours, and unless some awful health thing happens where you lose your mind, then you're, what you think will always be yours. Your information, your memories will always be yours. And if you look after yourself and you stay healthy and you have like a good healthy diet and you exercise and you meditate and you do energy clearing and everything, then you have more control over your mind and its sharpness and its ability to remember and recall things. And I think also the message here is because the butterfly is also a symbol for the thyroid as well. And the thyroid gland is something that quite often at the moment in today's world is getting unbalanced, and people are having thyroid problems. And one of the side effects of thyroid problems is you have a hormone imbalance, and then things don't kind of work so well, and your immune system goes awry. And there are other things that go on, but one of them is you have things like you don't feel grounded, you get vertigo, you get shortness of breath, you get anxiety, you get heart palpitations, you get dizzy, maybe you can't speak properly, your throat kind of gets all dried up and everything, and you can get brain fog as well, so that kind of like your mind goes and everything. So I think this card is calling you to take good care of yourself. To make sure that your hormones are balanced and that your nutrition is optimal, so that you do have that control, that autonomy over your truth. So that's that reading. If you enjoyed that, please do like this video. Please also do subscribe to this channel if you would like to check back in here and watch more videos from me. If you would like to find out more about me, my website is lemonrosepetals.com, and you can also find out if you can work, you can also arrange to work with me personally one-to-one via that website if you would like. I hope to see you here again soon, and thank you for watching. Bye.